We're going on to the main event, Godzilla 2000, our Godzilla Day movie this year. A little bit surprised in the movie theater. They really didn't have any... There's trivia, but that was about it.
There was trivia, and I would say the Big Bad Toys commercial was probably the most, interesting pre-credit thing that they did.
Yeah,
where they had the little stop-motion Godzilla figure fight with Mechagodzilla. Who else was in that fight? Was it Titanosaurus?
No, not Titanosaurus. Was there Biollante? I don't know. I can't remember. It was a cool commercial, and then they gave us some special features for Godzilla 2000, but it was like the very little special features that's on the Blu-ray version. And so it wasn't anything new or something I haven't seen before.
It wasn't narrated. There wasn't any commentary. It was just
some behind-the-scenes footage.
Behind the scenes
production
footage of the suit in motion and it's standing in front of a green screen. It was a little odd.
Yeah,
I really was expecting to see a short.
I'm looking to see if there's even anything on here.
We didn't make the Tokyo SOS screening, which was the last Fathom event. I don't know if they showed the Gigan short for that. I think they did. Did they show Gigan Rex? They might have shown Gigan Rex for that, but I thought we would have got it again.
Or the live action Gigan one.
Yeah.
We didn't get.
But we didn't get any shorts, and I saw a couple of people online like, "Oh, did anyone get anything?" And everyone was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
But I believe the next Fathom event is gonna be Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Maybe we'll get a little extra something before that one. There's no dates on that one yet. We'll be keeping an eye out for that for sure.
Yeah. I would imagine that they would at least show the Hedorah short that they filmed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they did show that already.
I know, but
it would be perfect for that movie, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's just get into it. I mean, Godzilla 2000 is a very straightforward movie, I feel like. They didn't really... It was a rushed production, I would say, because it was all in response to Godzilla 98 and the poor performance that it had.
Yeah, from what I understand, they did not intend to make this movie. They wanted to take a little bit of a break after the Heisei era, but they guess they didn't want to see their guy done dirty like that, so they were like, we need to fix this.
Yeah, that's why I got our guy up right there, right behind me, because he's the reason this movie exists. Because they were like, let's just show them a real Godzilla movie in America. So they came out with Godzilla 2000, bold redesign of the character. It's very, it's much more menacing and more lizard-like.
Yep, it's the first Godzilla suit that's actually green.
Yeah, it's a bit
it's always been grayish, but this is it's green.
Yeah, a lot of nighttime shots in this movie. Very little day going on in this movie, but it's also it's also a little strange. So we start off, and it's almost like, most Godzilla movies, it's like, okay, 56 is always canon. That always happened. Yeah. In this movie, it's just like this Godzilla has kind of just been around, and it's
the sequel to the original 54. Yeah, but they're he's been around,
and
there's a whole Godzilla protection network. It opens up with Yuji and Io Shinoda, the father-daughter, who are the main characters. So it opens up with that. He's been around, and they're tracking Godzilla. They have this reporter Yuki with them, and they get something. They pick it up, and then we get a cool foghorn / Beast from 20,000 Fathoms tribute with the whole foggy lighthouse and Godzilla appearing at the lighthouse and destroying the lighthouse. And to me, honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot today because I knew we were doing this. I honestly think that this whole opening sequence before we get the title screen is one of the best openings to a Godzilla movie, honestly.
Oh, yeah, no, it's really good.
I honestly think the opening is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, but because I kind of feel like the rest of the movie is very paint by numbers. And this opening sequence, this is the movie where like people get the closest, like the characters physically get the closest to Godzilla.
Yeah, because yeah,
Like he's right there. Like
yeah,
as soon as the movie starts, they didn't try to hide the design or save it for later or
nope,
build up mystery. It's nope, Godzilla's right here. This is what he looks like, and we're gonna have them kind of running away, but also kind of chasing Godzilla
yeah.
on
First they
this
chase him,
rampage.
and they like go through a tunnel and everything. He destroys this mountainside, and they get to the end of the tunnel, and the road's gone because Godzilla's just standing there, and they're like, boom, the car's at the edge of this cliff basically, and Godzilla's right there, looking in the car. The reporter's there. Godzilla roars at the car, shatters the windshield, and they back out of the cave. And Godzilla's chasing them now, and they're running away from Godzilla, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna go for the nuclear power plant." And yeah, and while they're watching Godzilla head towards this power plant, Yuki's like, "Yo, Yuki, you should change the film of that camera." And she's like, "Don't tell me how to do my job." Continues snapping away. Anyway, Godzilla gets this power plant and attacks it. Cuts to a really cool opening screen, really cool action sequence. And what was interesting was I didn't know this. This power plant is a real power plant, and it actually did have a nuclear meltdown a few months prior to this movie releasing.
Oh, really?
They kept the scene in it because they were like, you know what? It's a fair warning. Godzilla's always been a warning against nuclear, and here we are. It's just proof right there that it still holds up.
Yeah.
Nuclear energy is dangerous. That's basically what they wanted to say.
Well, yeah, but this like opening sequence is really cool, and then like it cuts to her in the new studio, and the guy's like, "Oh, this is all crappy pictures. What do you got going on?"
Yeah, because Godzilla's radiation
exposed to the film. So she tracks him back down. She's like, "We gotta find Godzilla again," and they're like, the daughter's like trying to sell her like membership fees to like become a part of like the Godzilla protection network. She's like, well, if you need us, these are our rates, and you have to sign up for a membership joining fee, and then there's a subscription fee, and
yeah, right now there's a discount plan going.
Yeah, so
and it turns out there's this whole Godzilla protection network. There's a lot of them because you do see usually throughout the movie calling different guys, getting information from around.
It kind of
Japan.
Gave me like like those like CERN, like those like independently run things to look for aliens. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of like that type of feeling.
Yeah.
But these guys were actually good at their job.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie in a very long time. I mean, I had done like a rewatch of all the Godzilla movies a few years ago, went chronological, and I didn't remember that whole aspect to it. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah. So while this is going on, they did have, they found this giant rock thing in the ocean, and they were like, "Oh, let's bring it up to the surface for some reason."
This like deputy cabinet secretary, director of crisis control intelligence. It's like, I don't know why, if you're in charge of that, why are you trying to excavate this ancient meteor for energy source? Like, what's that have to do with crisis control?
Yeah.
Like, he seems like he's got like his hands in a lot of different things. This guy's kind of just a douche the whole movie. They try to make him like the most like hateable character the whole time. And he's got this assistant Shiro with him. He's the main guy. The director is Mitsu Katakiri, and then his assistant is Shiro Miyasaka, who we find out is Yuichi's old like colleague from college. They were like roommates. They went to school together, so they were kind of on the same path. But then eventually, Yuichi was all about studying Godzilla. Shiro was all about the government stuff, working for the government, doing this, that, all corporate. So yeah, they're excavating this rock, and they begin to like lift it up with like what were they lifting it with? Like balloons?
Yeah, it was like
right?
yeah, it was like balloons, and then it eventually started lifting itself up, which that should have been a red flag. Uh, so then they have this giant floating rock in the middle of the ocean, and then look who decides to come along. It's Godzilla. The rock starts moving. Godzilla attacks the rock. We find out.
Well, no, Godzilla didn't attack the rock. Godzilla was just rampaging through Japan still, I believe,
Oh,
right?
yeah, did the rock fly to it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the rock begins sitting up, and then, yeah, Godzilla did eventually attack the rock after the rock had shown up and then revealed the ship. But, like, one of the weird things, like, when you look at this rock when it first surfaces, it reminds me of the Heisei Gamera,
Yeah.
where they find the rock. It looked almost like Gamera's shell. I'm like, if you were like the first time like watching this in the theaters, like people could have been like, "Oh my god, are they gonna do Godzilla vs. Gamera secretly in Godzilla 2000?" Like,
Yeah.
because it looked like Gamera's shell to me. That would have been a cool like twist if they did do that back then. That would have been like, holy hell! They just
honestly, it's a movie that I never think they're ever gonna touch.
no, they'll never do it. It'll never happen.
Yeah.
If we could get it in Gigabash, that's the closest we'll get.
Yeah. I mean, it almost makes no sense why they wouldn't do it.
It does
well,
make no sense.
The reason why they wouldn't do it, well, they just have to do a dusty finish where nobody wins.
Yeah.
But like, Godzilla's the bad guy, Gamera's the good guy, Gamera's protecting the kids. Then they, I guess, just have to come to a mutual understanding, or they could do some cop-out thing like Godzilla vs. Kong and then bring in like a third villain.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, it's the same ending that we've already had.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the problem with these versus movies. You can't really have a winner because everybody has to be protected.
Yeah.
But not in this movie. So they're like building more, like they're spending more time at this crisis center because now there's a giant spaceship floating around, and it decides to go over the news network. The spaceship, and I feel like this movie kind of just goes really quick.
It does. It just like
happens. Like we get a lot of background about the characters, and like the mother died, and now he's researching Godzilla by himself, and he doesn't want to work for the government because they're going to use the research of Godzilla for what he believes to be evil things, and he'd rather just do his own research by himself. They discover that Godzilla has this, I think they call it Regenerator G.
Yes.
Because they have to rename G cells every single time they discuss them. And they just can't call them G cells.
Yeah. So like his skin just regenerates so quick, and we could be used for so many things. And the aliens have the whole time the ship has been hacking Yuki's Sony Vaio laptop, little Sony Vaio laptop, the whole movie,
and putting information about Godzilla on there.
Yeah, and stealing it.
And like at one point, was there like a picture of like Showa Godzilla on there?
I don't remember that.
It's like I felt like they like put pictures on there of like older Godzillas, but then they like don't ever address Godzilla really. Like he just seems like there's this thing that's always been there.
Yeah.
But they don't really address it very much.
They don't really get into
the history. They really don't address at all. And then they're gonna destroy the news tower.
Yeah, because they figure out they use like infrared to like scan it, and they see there's got these tentacles that are like going around the tower.
This is pre-Wi-Fi.
And stealing information.
This movie's a lot less impressive after the invention of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But
and the computers are super old. Yeah.
So they're gonna explode the news building, and they're like, "Oh, we got to get out of the building," but then we're going to stay behind because we have to find out what they want. And then at the end, it just says Millennium on the computer screens, and he's just like, Millennium. Like, we're supposed to know what that means.
Yeah, so basically, the aliens wanted to take over the Earth and create their new empire for a millennium or
Just
something like
1,000 years, and then they're going to give it right back to us.
Yeah.
So that's what they decided they need. The giant spaceship of aliens that have tried to start destroying the city wants to take over the planet. Good thing you stuck around for that information. We would have never figured that out.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're looking up information on Godzilla as we see throughout the whole movie, and like, oh, Godzilla's the key. So what they want to do is they want to use Godzilla to take over the planet.
Because they're going to turn themselves into Godzillas.
Yes, because they're like a formless being, so they're trying to find the perfect being to become. So first it comes out with this tentacle monster, comes out of the ship, and then quickly turns into Orga.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, it escalates super quickly. The ship gets split in half after this fight with Godzilla. Yeah, it's the first ship that Godzilla actually goes face to face with for the Millennium Era, and first alien spaceship. I mean, it's done the X1, X2s, X3s, but this is the first time Godzilla actually had like a actual battle with a spaceship.
Yeah, with a pretty big laser beam.
Yeah, and the ship gets like split in half, but it's still active. It's like sentient, and it's like linked up with Orga, and the fight's pretty cool. It moves really quick.
Yeah.
And the whole time while this is going on, that Mitsu Katagiri is just kind of like standing over a building and watching this go on. And finally, like, Yuji was in the building when they blew it up, but he survives by jumping down an elevator shaft and then jumping in an air vent and somehow ending up in like
the basement.
Yeah, but he's in the basement somehow in like a
like
sewer
under the
system.
basement.
Like, I don't know how a sewer system was connected to a elevator air shaft, but whatever. He survived. Plot armor there. So some reason Yuji goes to the building where Katagiri is, and they watch the whole fight go down. Katagiri, they were gonna nuke. Were they gonna? No, they weren't gonna nuke him at one point.
No, they rigged explosives.
They rigged the explosives. Yeah, he needed. Yeah, that's the other thing. He needed like a key card and like a launch code for like these generic explosives. They weren't like nukes. There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need a whole card thing and punching numbers, and like it should just be like push the button. Like, it made it seem like he was doing like apocalyptic bombing there. But
he did a controlled demolition of one building.
Yeah, Shiro's friend, Yuji's old colleague, tries to stop him from blowing up because he knows Yuji's in the building, but Katagiri, he's got to be the dick, blows up the building, as we said. So they're just there watching this whole fight go down. Godzilla's fighting Ogra, and he just kind of just was like, screw it. Like, Orga just opens this big mouth, and Godzilla's like, yeah, I'm just going to Leroy Jenkins this and just run into his mouth. And Orga begins to eat it, and you can see the spikes start going out of his back, so he's cloning Godzilla, trying to become Godzilla and use the regenerator G cells, and it'll be the ultimate monster. And then Godzilla's like, nah, and just blasts it with the fire breath. And proceeds to begin burning the city. And then, we should get out of here. So Yuji runs, Io with his daughter Io, Yuki, Shiro's running, and for some reason Katagiri's just standing there. And Godzilla just approaches the building because he just sees these humans standing on the building. And just kind of looks at him, and Katagiri's just like, Godzilla! And then Godzilla's like, screw this guy, and he just swipes at the building and punches Yuji for trying to save him. Yeah. Yuji's like, let's get out of here. He's like, no, I'm staying here to yell at Godzilla, and then he just gets killed for
No
literally
reason.
no reason, besides that he's an asshole.
And then Godzilla just rampages through the city and
Yeah, and it
credits
just ends
roll.
with ends Godzilla burns the city, credits roll.
You know, it's a fun. This is a fun popcorn flick movie. Like, great to see it in theaters. Like, I loved it. But like, there is almost like zero real plot to this movie.
No, it's like no, yeah,
It moves super fast, and it's just like, yeah, Godzilla's there. There's a rock. Rock turns into a spaceship. Rock starts to steal information. Godzilla doesn't like that. They get in a fight. Turns into a giant space monster. Godzilla kills it. That's the movie. The human plot was not much. They tried to build some tension with the whole building exploding thing, but like when it's like 30 minutes of, oh, this building's gonna explode, we gotta get out of here. It's just like, you had plenty of time. I'm sorry.
yeah.
You had plenty of time to get out of that building.
And then, like, you could argue because he's copying the G cells, the regenerated G element. Like, there was still some body left, even though Godzilla like charted. But like, could he come back with those G cells if they regenerated? But they didn't do that in a sequel. I guess you could argue, hey, Godzilla burnt down the whole city to make sure he got all that taken care of and destroyed, maybe.
Yeah. I
But
think the only one that's like a pseudo sequel is the first Megagigas. But
Megagira,
yeah.
Megairus, yeah.
But besides that, I don't even think that's an official sequel. I think they're all mostly standalone.
Yeah.
The only ones that are connected are the Kiryu saga ones.
Yes.
There was supposed to be a third one, and then they were like, this isn't working. We're just going to go do Final Wars instead and wrap up the series.
Yeah. It's really weird that they didn't conclude that. That would have been cool to see, but
Yeah, no, I think those are some of the better new Godzilla
Yeah.
movies were those Kiryu ones.
yeah. I mean, overall, I enjoy the movie. It's like you said. It definitely you could see how it's rushed. The CGI underwater scene was just
I think they were
super-
going for something, and it just didn't work. Technology wasn't there at the time.
Yeah, it was the first ever CG Godzilla scene. They did a lot of green screen stuff too that didn't quite work, and I don't believe they did it again in the other movies. But
No.
yeah, the CG, the mass CG was also probably part of why they did a lot of night scenes too.
Cover it up, yeah. I thought that the tentacle monster was a cool idea.
Yeah,
It obviously the CG didn't look good, but like, I wish almost that they would have had a bigger, longer fight scene
yes.
with
So
a
we could've
tentacle
just-
monster.
Yeah, we could have seen that, and then it transform, like just evolve.
Like the tentacle monster was there for maybe 2 minutes of the film, maybe. I don't even know if
Not
it was that
even.
long. Yeah, I don't even know if it was that long.
It was like 2 seconds.
It was not long enough. And then straight to Ogra. I do like the design of Ogra, but I wish we'd have also gotten a little further along in the evolution chain on that.
Yeah.
Like, have it be a cool looking
Like
clone
you see the
Godzilla.
spikes forming, but like
Never
Godzilla
gets to
blows
use it.
up. You never get to see it like step away with the spikes on his back. Yeah.
Which is where I feel like if this was like a Heisei movie, there
maybe-
would have been a couple stages to this monster.
Yeah.
We would have seen that suction attack a couple of times. We would have
Yes.
seen the progression of the monster.
Yes.
But, I really think that they just churned out this movie as quickly as they could.
They did.
And is
Yeah.
it better than Godzilla 98? Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not even a question. Godzilla 98 is way too long of a movie.
Yes.
It's way too much stuff going on. Again, plagued by just this weird, this has to be taking place at night. It's got to always be raining.
Yes.
Like,
That's true.
it's definitely addressed all the problems I'd say that people had with Godzilla 98, which is what the whole purpose of this movie was here's a real Godzilla movie. Now, I'm not one of these people that just hates Godzilla 98, but I do hate what it did to the franchise. It had permanent repercussions, the impact that it had. And it's taken years for it to finally start crawling back into the mainstream again.
Oh boy, it does it? Yeah. I mean, you could say it's in mainstream hardcore right now, which I'm really excited for. I really think this -1 movie is going to change the game big time for Godzilla here.
I do too. I mean, it's nominated for Best Picture in Japan. If it can get a nomination here in America, I think that would be amazing.
Absolutely
Even just to be on the list would be...
Yeah.
Just to get nominated would be enough.
I mean, people said that, Godzilla vs. Kong is what... Oh, sorry. What saved the movie theaters, almost, sort of. Because it was the first blockbuster movie to kind of come back to theaters post-COVID. It did do the digital streaming on HBO Max and all that, but it was also in theaters. It was the first movie where they're like, all right, we're actually going to put it in the theater.
I was so busy at the time because I was, I still work at the hospital and everything like that. But I wish that we would have just rented out a theater and gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I really would like to see that one in theater.
That's the one thing I haven't done yet. I have not seen a MonsterVerse movie in theaters.
Yeah. We got one this year. Well, next year that we'll get to go see.
Yeah, it's gonna be my first in theater. I was weird with the MonsterVerse. I was like, I'm not watching any of these movies till Godzilla vs. Kong comes out. Then I'll watch them all in one big chunk.
The MonsterVerse is great. I'm really excited for Monarch. I watched that first clip where it showed the opening 2-3 minutes of Monarch. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm gonna need to find a way to watch it on my breaks, maybe. I don't know. I think Friday I'll try to watch it on the TV at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for the series coming up. We have a lot of great stuff coming the next few months.
Honestly,
the next year is gonna be. We're packed out. I mean, between comics, Monarch, -1, the books, Godzilla, Kong, New Empire. I feel like I heard something that I read at the date, but I heard that we should be getting a trailer for Godzilla, Kong, and the New Empire in the next couple of weeks. I thought there was a date. I can't quite remember it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's dropped after the Monarch. It's the post credits for the season finale, which should be sometime in January.
No, definitely.
But really looking forward. I mean, we're eating good. We're eating good.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good year coming up. So much stuff. It's going to be we're going to have to find time to cover it.
Yeah, I don't know if Hedorah, the Godzilla vs. Hedorah Fathom event's going to be before the New Empire in theaters, but we're going to be seeing 3 Godzilla movies in theaters in the next couple months, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, can't wait. Keep reading those comics. War for Humanity. There's the whole legendary thing going on. I honestly haven't read the first issue yet. I haven't read it yet. But I am dying for War for Humanity. I'm kind of annoyed that they pushed it back so much. All of a sudden I'm like, all right, where's my 3rd issue? When am I getting that? I'm like, oh, it's the middle of December.
I don't know if they just didn't want to compete with the Justice League crossover.
Yeah,
comic.
I don't know if it was just they were like, oh, we got Here There Be Dragons, we got Godzilla Rivals, we have Justice League. So maybe they just didn't want to oversaturate it.
Yeah.
We have the Godzilla Megalon, Jet Jaguar one shot coming. Gonna be pretty crazy. I'm excited for everything that's coming.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to see what happens, yeah. So
yeah, -1 will be the next episode with maybe some Snarlagon for a comic review, and we'll see what else we cover.
All right.
Ultraman 11 and 10.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Yes, enjoy.
Bye.